little bit later. Great. Okay. So welcome everybody. Thank you, Eugenia, for joining us today. And Eugenia, I think that if we dive straight into it, it's probably the best thing to do. And what I'd like to ask you first of all is, because everyone's here to see you, so can you tell us a little bit about yourself first of all?
Well, hello again here. Yes, like to those who are here, to those who are watching this in the recording, I totally understand. Beginning of the year and
Mm.
everything. Yes, so like hello again. I am the teacher of English, like a simple freelance teacher. I have been working since like 2013, 2014 in this field, and I'm extremely happy to be here. Really, so like I'm quite honored this time. Yeah. As well, before we continue on, to those who I can see on the screen, can you show me like your like pointer finger like this? All right. Can you show me your ring finger like this? Ring finger. Right. Okay. And now, can you show me this? All right. Do you know what this means? So Ukrainians probably know this is actually the sign of coat of arms of Ukraine. Yes, so like this is the international coat of arms. Yeah, so like, and I have been the patriot of Ukraine like for as long as I can remember, and I have always been passionate about doing some voluntary work and all the rest of it. Like all about this you can actually find on the internet. It's not a big deal, really. So like I am the teacher, I'm a freelance at the moment, have been working in the school before. I'm certified by Cambridge. If I don't know if it's important for today's conference, for today's talk or not, but definitely I am also one of the simple people who wants the world to be a better place, and I don't like the long introductions as well. Right.
Thank you.
So but
Thank you. That's no, that's fantastic. I like that. A simple person who doesn't like long introductions with belief in humanity. So
yeah.
yeah, where one of the questions that we had for you right at the beginning is why did you decide to become a teacher?
Well, it's actually very simple. I really had this aptitude, like for languages, and I really liked working in school. Not actually kind of like working, but I would say this was more like to be in school, to be like in the teacher's role or something. I remember that in school we had one day where we had a swap day, like the teachers were sitting in the back of the class, and you had the opportunity to become a teacher for like a few moments, for a few minutes out there. And one of the key moments for me, it was actually when I visited one of the most beautiful courses that I have had in the beginning of my teaching career. It was from Lana Sushko, the one that was given the talk with Irina Sushko, right? So like it was like you can see like million years ago. Yeah, so and people were just like it was just like eye-opening. So that's why this one was the reason. And the second, like Lana, also I like the swap day in school, and we kind of have the same professions among my cousins. I'm the teacher of English. My cousin brother is the teacher of physics. My cousin sister is the teacher of Ukrainian language. So basically, this is like our family thing. Like no other people out there as teachers. And also my grandma is a teacher of math. Yeah, so like it's another thing. We're talking that. Right.
So it's quite you've been interested in this for quite some time in that case.
Yeah. Yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. So Yevgenia, where are you, if you're happy to talk about it, where are you at the moment?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have not left the country. I have been in my native city here, in my native town, Poltava, and I want to show you on the map. Oh, yeah. So like it will be a little bit later, but still, yeah. I'm over here. If you can see it, I'm in this particular place. This one. This is my city. As you can see, it's quite far from the front line, basically, and that's why our kind of our city has become like a volunteer center, or the center where people are trying to get help, to get aid and everything around that. So I have been here for as long as I can remember. I mean, I have left this town for 3 days in the beginning of war. I will be telling about this in a moment. So, but Poltava is a very peaceful city, which actually gives the opportunity to help to the army, to help to the volunteers, to help to those who have to be replaced from their living out there. So like a lot of people I know that they come to the western part of Ukraine. Some people go to Kyiv, some people go to the center, like here is Cherkasy, to the Kropyvnytsky and other cities. But a lot of people still come from Kharkiv, especially to Poltava, from Donetsk, from Kherson. I know a lot of people. So yeah, basically I'm staying in here. Like I don't give you the exact address, so but I'm there.
Okay. And
yeah.
I don't want to ask too much of an intrusive question in that way, but how are things in Poltava at the moment?
Quite all right. Yeah, so like everything's quite calm. Yesterday we didn't have any air alerts. Yay, like only one at night, but it doesn't count because it was like about like 40 minutes. So you wake up, you go into the shelter, you come back. Everything's fine. We got used to that already. Yeah. The only thing today, and this is for the other teachers as well, today we have got some training going on of our pilots. So if you hear some very loud noise from my window, don't be scared. It's the training. It's not anything to be worried about. I do promise you that, because it's happening like quite a lot of time. And I consider this as an air patrol. You know, like that. So if you look at this in this way, you will not be scared. It's a patrol flying around. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Eugenia. And the next question I wanted to ask you is, so that's where you are now. What were you doing when the invasion started?
Yeah, it's a good question to answer. I think like I have talked about this like to a lot of people, and I think all Ukrainians talk about this because we need to talk about this. Yeah. So, and I was, as usual, as a person, and I will tell you like what happened a few days before, not few days, even like 23rd in the retrospective. I was one of those people who didn't believe that invasion will start. Something told me that 95% there was a probability that the full-scale invasion will happen, because basically we had war since 2014, but it was frozen for the international attention. It was something called like ATO, so like anti-terrorist operation. So that's why the people around the world, they didn't know much about that, or they knew about it and they thought that it was kind of like a local conflict between Russia and Ukraine. However, there were still 5% that there will be no war. So like a lot of people were thinking about that. I was in those 5% that I thought like nobody will do this to their country. I thought that Russia will not make this social suicide to themselves. They will not have to deal with these sanctions. They will not want to do this. So that's why I was like right out of those 5%. And before war, like right about the week before, I had conducted several lessons. I have developed, I'm like an online teacher mostly. That's why I developed several presentations with the metrics and with some Richard Branson thoughts and like with a lot of different things. But it's actually quite cool, especially, you know, like with this, the first screenshot you can see, this is the speech of Morpheus, where he was saying that machines are coming around the city, Zion, and like we must not be afraid. And actually this was my message, and that's what I did with all my students. I told them like, whatever happens, you must not be afraid. Whatever happens, you must have clear mind. And like you must understand what you need to do. Probably you need to take your like emergency case with you or something like that. So, but basically that's what was my like what was I thinking in this. The last picture that I have taken on the 23rd, it was actually my adult students taking a test. I was just sitting and waiting for them to send me their test works, and it was like the last picture that was like in the peaceful time taken from me. However, on the 24th, as we already told, like I haven't left the city. It was crazy because you never know how your psyche will work when you hear the actual air alert at 5 in the morning. What was the thing for me? I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I texted to one of my dearest friends, and I was like, did you hear that? And she's like, yes, what the hell? I'm sorry for the language, but it was like that, because you don't know how you're going to react to this. And both of us, we were just texting, okay, I have the cat, and she needed also like the case for the cat to bring to the village or something. Me and my husband, we actually, like, why did we wake up at 5, you say? We didn't have bombing. You can see Poltava is quite calm at that moment. We had MiGs running, like flying over Poltava. And I woke up literally from the noise of their engine above my house. And I wasn't afraid myself. My cat started panicking. Like, I literally woke up because of this noise, and I was thinking, what is it? Like, why is it so noisy? At first I was thinking it was a truck, but then, well, when you realize what is it. So, but again, Poltava wasn't bombed. And then in Poltava, at least in my city, it was quite panicky. People started buying stuff and everything. What did I and my husband? We went to the fuel station. We started to hunt for the fuel. So it's actually a normal situation. We needed to do this before war. So like, but nobody knew that it would start. And as I told you, I was in those 5% that believed that there will be no war, but it is what it is. So nevertheless, the day is going on, 24th, everyone is going through, like I'm texting to Natalia, like to Oksana, to like some colleagues that you have already seen in this like series of the talks. And everyone is doing something, basically like running, collecting stuff and going. And we decided that we thought that Poltava would be bombed as well. So we went to the village of my husband's parents. It's 30 kilometers from Poltava, so it's not so far. I can show you, it's over here, somewhere in between Myrhorod and Poltava. But as you can see, Myrhorod was bombed, and I heard those bombing. It's not very nice sound to hear. So that's why, you know, like we were staying there, and it was just like really dreadful because you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's happening. You are constantly in Telegram on the news. You are all constantly checking. You are talking to all the people. You are cursing at Russia all the time, and you are being really aggressive. So, and you cannot control that aggression because you don't understand what's going on. So basically, when we were staying in the village out there, so for 3 days, I started to understand, my career of an English teacher is over. So nothing is going to be as it was before. Like the teachers of English will not be needed anywhere. So I started to think, so like if it's not needed, what could be needed? Could be needed something to work with PTSD. I didn't know what it was before. Like I knew what it was, but I didn't know like what it was, like which was caused by the war. What is the witness trauma and everything. I was digging quite a lot. I was reading a lot, you know, like it was kind of like my savior, so that I was diving into the information of all this little thing. I was even writing to the Department of Veterans of America, but what they texted, like not texted, what they replied to me, it was not very applicable, in my opinion, and it's quite applicable right now when their hot phase of war is a little bit down, like, I mean, the degree is a little bit down. So, but I still didn't know what would be in this way. I still didn't know what would be the next point in my life. So, but again, we were sitting in the village, again, very aggressive, very bad. Everything was awful. Yeah, so like war is happening. You heard some explosions in Myrhorod. So like there was this, there was that. However, we understood with my husband that we'd better go back to Poltava. And you know, like it's very weird feeling when you're going like on the highway to Poltava from the village. There are no cars, but there are millions of cars going away from Poltava. So, well, I understand that because a lot of refugees were running from Kharkiv, basically. So, and they were going to the side of Kyiv, they were going to the western part of Ukraine. So they were running for their life because they were actually in the real bad situation. We came back to Poltava on the 28th, on the 1st of March, and we started to understand what we needed to do. And as I told you, I buried my career of an English teacher. I thought nobody would need this anymore. I decided to do some practical stuff. So majority of women started to do some cooking, something. I was going to one of the schools in Ukraine to do some camouflage coating. So like for the cars, for the soldiers, for where they lived, for their tents and everything like that. It's not a difficult work, right? So like, but you know, when you are working in some other field like education, you understand that it's basically, yeah, you can do this, but it's not exactly what you are good at, right? So like you could be better in some other field. So, and in the beginning of March, Natalia Zachinska actually invited me to one of the meetings. Like it was something like together with Ukraine from Georgia, with Batumi. It was one of the eye-opening sessions where I understood that kids could help, because during the beginning of war, during the first few weeks, I didn't cry. But when I saw these children, you know, like just showing even on the phone, like blue and yellow, I was like, I burst into tears, and it was really like the eye-opening, and I understood something clicked there. Something is going on, something that I need to do, something that I could do as well for the people around. So I continued the research, and from that point, I conducted few meetings, like teachers circle, I call that, or something. I'm not a psychologist, but I go through therapy and everything. So I knew like what we need to do in order to calm ourselves down, to do like a little breathe in, breathe out, as you can see, like sleep enough, do something. There was a couple of individual sessions, there were a couple of group sessions, and it was like, to me, it was really a reawakening. And I understood like, if teachers need that, if people need that, so since I had a couple of those, then kids need this too. And even when we say like kids don't understand politics, we must ignore the politics and stuff like that. Oh my God, our children are so smart. Like they understand absolutely everything what is going on out there, despite being in Ukraine or outside of Ukraine. So in these few shots over here, these are from my online lessons, and kids were actually having like drawing dictation about the clothes and stuff. One of them was in Finland since September, and few more students, they were actually displaced from their place of living, and I saw that they needed it. When I was working not for freelance, when I was working in school, we had a really cool kind of initiative from my headmaster. When invasion started in 2014, a lot of families moved to Poltava, to Kyiv as well, and we took up several free students. Like they were attending our school for free, basically. And you know, like when they tell like, this is the student that comes from Donetsk, they don't have home anymore, and you're like, and how do I deal with this? You know, well, it's natural because like you have never had this experience. And I have found several good something like methodological materials what to do, and it's quite simple. It's the same thing that we do with ourselves. Like you stand up, you do some sit-ups, you maybe do some squats, you maybe like do some breathing techniques and everything if it is needed. But for the kids it works a little bit different way. You have to make them move, you have to, like as it was saying, I think it was Oksana saying, that you have to bring them back to reality, because they might dissociate themselves from this particular thing where they are right now. And you know, it works very simple. Like TPR activities like work very well for the first few lessons, and then you start doing the English again. Why is it important? It was important as well for children to come back to classes, even if they were not talking about English. Some of them were like, oh, Russia killed my apartment, like something like that, like 8-year-old. So, and you know, you have to respond to this, but you know, like, yeah, it's that bad, yeah, I know, but you know, like, look, here I have the superhero who will save Ukraine, and you know, like, the lesson goes on and everything's going fine. Plus, it gave the teachers and the parents time to adjust to the reality. Because when the mother, when the father, when both of the parents are thinking, oh my God, right now into our house will fly the rocket or the missile, and we don't know what to do. Do we run down to the shelter? Do we go away to the village or something? You cannot have this emotional conversation in front of your children. That's just like a rule, because children will copy your panic. children will copy your probably cursed language. Well, they still do, but it's like, I mean, in that situation, it would be like the trigger to all the parents, to all the teachers, to everyone around that. So that's why we needed all to take some time. And in this way, by conducting these lessons to the kids during the war, you gave the time even for parents to have like simple discussion for the, excuse me. Yeah. This is the application of the air alert in Ukraine, and I have it on because I text to the deaf couple who live in the other district of Poltava that there is an air alert. Don't be as irresponsible as I am, because I don't go to the shelter today. If you have the alert, please go.
Yeah, Eugenia, if whatever you have to do, you can go ahead and do, obviously.
I have to give a talk.
Okay.
No. It's just like one more thing, that my computer doesn't work without electricity, and I don't have sockets in the shelter where I have, so that's why, sorry. Yeah, let's pray for the best. What I was saying. So I know, I'm so sorry about about this, but I do text to this deaf couple because they do need it. And if you know, there was the accident in, I think it was in Mykolaiv in April, where the 15-year-old teenager was running to the deaf couple to warn them, but he was killed by the missile because of he was running away to them. Wow. That's why, you know, like I have this like texting mode, like quickly, like that has to be taken up.
Yeah, of course.
Nevertheless, we gave the time to the parents to discuss what they needed to do. Maybe the mother had to pour down her emotions to the father, because again, yes, mom has to be very emotional, like, and she will be very emotional. However, it will not be that of a good idea to show all the emotions to the kids, especially the emotion of fear, emotion of theory, like scared of being dead or whatever. So that's why we all needed the time to adjust to all of this. This is actually what I found very interesting and kind of fascinating. When the war started, a lot of publishers and a lot of authors of different materials started to give away free materials, and Richard Graham, it's like Genki English author, he has got a lot of cool lessons, and I have got the subscription. It's amazing, like for the kids, wonderful. And he has got the lesson about can, the modal verb, and as you can see, he created a superhero, but for the sake of Ukrainian people, he actually put the coat of arms, remember the one that we did in the beginning, like on his chest, and it was like so amazing. The children loved it. We did the project with them. All of them were drawing. They were telling all about the superheroes and everything. So I was trying to find the pictures of actual their works, but they didn't show, like, I don't know where it is. Like, nevertheless, this is what I drew for them, and they were drawing. They were really involved, and they actually switched their brain from war to this beautiful thing. Yes, you know, like, but still through Ukraine. And I'm really grateful to Oxford, to Cambridge, to Richard Graham, to a lot of like English props. I think they were also like giving away like some materials about Ukrainian. Like, it's wonderful. It really, it was, and it is still right now out there. So since we adjusted to that, I wanted to show like a little clip that I have seen there. I wouldn't say that it works with everyone, but with the majority of people. So please, just like 12 seconds. So basically, what I'm trying to say with this short little video is that people of Ukraine, they have adjusted. They understand what to do in this like hell going on, right? So that's why you can rely on us if you need any help in that like zombie apocalypse or something. I hope that it will not happen there, but it is like the representation for you. Now, as we're jumping over like with this adaptation and all these little things, how all started, like, and I wanted to talk about my project, about the one that you wanted to see, you wanted to understand what's going on. in my school, we had a shoebox charity. I think like those who are from the English-speaking countries or probably from America, you know about this more. This is more like a religious thing where people for the Christmas collect simple presents like this stationery, some sweets and everything for the orphans, for the children in need and everything. We did the same thing for the orphans, for the children in hospital, for the cancer ill children, for the children in need from the bigger families and stuff. And you know, I was still doing that, like I was in charge of this project like through all these years till 2022, and I was thinking like this brought so much happiness to them, to these kids. This brought so much, and I felt like, aha, so kids are smiling because they get presents, they get even like these little simple things. Probably it can work with the adults too. And that's actually where I came with the idea. Like, it was not only my idea, basically. Some of the coordinators, they were also telling me like, oh, probably we could collect some cookies, we could collect some pictures. And I'm like, I'm on it. Like, this is great. I can do this. I understand what it's going to take, and I understand how it is done, basically. So this is the first portion of the cookies that we have collected. It was like with the Russian worship, with "We love you, please come back." Ukraine is like, everything's gonna be Ukraine, and also a lot of pictures from the children out there. So the first portion of the cookies, it was not cookies, it was gingerbread. It was 975. Since that moment, I have never counted them. So like, it was like the first one. Yeah, so like that we sent to the frontier, to the first line of frontier, to the 01, to the intelligence fire teams, to some of the closer to Kharkiv, to the Kozachilopany, and everywhere there. So like to the borderline guardians and the pictures again. So all of these things. You know, like at first you send it and you're like, well, okay, and you forget about that. But then you happen to get the reports. You happen to get the reports and you start all over again with all these pictures. And you can see that I also do have this little thing. This is like a charm. It is called motanka in Ukrainian. This is like a little, if you can say analog, it's voodoo doll that keeps you safe and healthy. Like, but it's more from Ukrainian ancestry and everything like that. And we send such things to our soldiers, to our medical workers who are at the frontier, to the borderline officers as well, to the police who are in Kramatorsk, in that time it was in Bakhmut and in Lysychansk and in a lot of battlefield areas out there. And I believe that this gave them some protection as well, since it was all done with the, you know, with the heart, with the warmth, with all of these little things. As well as you can see, like here I have some pictures like from the recent ones, like Maryland from Oksana Vahil, they gave to me some pictures. And again, I don't have so many pictures, like so much time right now to show you all the pictures that I have, but it's like so many of them the children are sending, and the people are showing off like them, like amazingly. So you can see that here, you can see, I hope that you can see, there is a tank going on. There is another tank. There is another, like, thank you for everything. Thank you for all of that is going on. So the tank is burning, Ukrainian plane is flying out. There is a little card as well with the flag and with the message, and it is like so amazing, like to see how children are going to are showing their expression there. Also, they are making a lot of good posters, like which we send also to the frontier, but not to the front lines, and a lot of such bigger posters we're sending to the hospitals which are at the front line. So for instance, it's like, oh, here, I don't know, like if you can see it there, it's a big poster where it says like Vilna Ukraina, which is the free Ukraine, and or freedom to Ukraine, you could say that as well. And they are, these are the children from who are refugees from those regions that are being right now in the battlefield. So from Kramatorsk, from Lysychansk, from Severodonetsk, like those are the kids who actually are suffering from all of that part. It's just like one of the most amazing things that you can do, like that you can actually feel when you get this kind of posters, you know, like it's just like melts the heart and breaks the heart every single time out there. What I wanted also to say about all these little pictures that children are sending, they also send in a lot of crops. This is like bracelets. Our soldiers are wearing them. So like, and I think that you could see a lot of them. Also, there are a lot of charms like this. Here is encrypted victory, something like that. And they put it into their pockets, and they are running the combats with them. So like, and it's just like one of the greatest thing. Later you will see how the actual soldiers is reacting to all this things going on, and you can see that there is another charm going on here, so like near the Ukrainian flag at the top. So it's just like the kids, and it's their heart into it. You don't have to show them the death so that they can understand the war. You don't have to show them all this mess that is going on with Mariupol, with Kyiv, with I don't know, like a lot of things that are wrong. So like, war is never fun. That's what we have to understand, and that's what we have to communicate to the kids as well. But what we can do, we actually save the heart out there. If you remember that I was reading a lot about PTSD in the beginning and everything, PTSD sometimes it's not from the atrocities that you did. This is sometimes from the atrocities that you defended from, that you understand that could happen if you weren't there. And when soldiers and medical workers are coming back from the being prisoners of war, from all these things, from all these destroyed cities, destroyed villages and stuff like that, they turn into beasts, and it's inevitable. It's a normal process of human psyche, that like it's really inevitable. But when they feel that children are there that are waiting for them, when they feel that, and they see basically that children are there, and it's not like, you know, fake pictures that we are collecting and just, I don't know, like make Xerox copies and send them everywhere. No, it's literally like the letters to them. It's brings them back to reality as well. So that's what I was telling you about. So children are dissociating a little bit in the other way, adults in the other one, like in another one, but we still can bring them back with these little moments here. As well as we're talking with you, here is another glimpse for you. So like from the reports, how we're sending, of course, it's not only the pictures that we're sending in the gingerbreads. I want to emphasize one more thing, that we are sending those things with tactical medications, with all the necessary ammo, or what is requested. For example, we need like camouflage coating, we need this metal stuff, we need this optical thing for our rifles and stuff like that. And we add it just, you know, like to show that it's not only covered like with the good, with what you requested for, but it's coated with love a little bit there. One little clip that I'm about to show you, this is from the church. This is the church school, and it was provided to me from one of the volunteers from my team, how the children were creating all these little like things, and they were singing thank you in Ukrainian while they were actually creating all these little things. So just like 15 seconds again of your life. So, as you can see, they were creating little notes, little things like "Дякуємо вам за все." So it's like thank you for everything. We are grateful for everything here. So, and these two girls, they wrote the whole letter. This letter is already at the frontier, so I cannot show it to you. So, but it is like so pretty. It is so beautiful, beautifully made. Of course, it is with mistakes. Of course, it is like not the perfect, you know, like craft or something. Once I had a comment from one man that, well, you'd better not send this to the frontier. It's bad. It's not nice. It's not symmetrical and something like. And I'm like, I'm not an academic art teacher. So like I'm just seeing some good kid like giving the heart to the soldiers there. So, and it's sincere. It's not that, you know, like that people are coming for it. It's not also like only the children that are sent in. Sometimes it's also the adults. I have encountered like a really nice teacher, like her name is Marina, and she's got a sister. She's an artist, and she draws also like little cards and like little nice messages, writes little nice messages to the soldiers as well. But it's not only because she wants to do that. She shows this to her two sons, and her sons, obviously, they start repeating her in kindness. They understand that this is, aha, yeah, I also respect the soldiers. I want to draw something for him as well. So, and they make it too. They collect also some chocolates. They collect also some, I don't know, like a dried fruit and nuts. And they always send to me like the package, and I just like take off my address from the package, and I, with this box, I give it away to the volunteers who are actually going to the front lines there. It's an amazing like experience. I do tell you. What my message with this particular thing is that if you show the kindness, the kindness will be here everywhere. So like if you show the anger, so the anger will be there too. But if you want to have the gratitude, if you want to amplify the speed of our victory, this is the way to do it. Through the kindness, through the love. Of course, we understand who is the bad guys here. And with adults, we can talk about something different. But teenagers and kids, they have to go through this. However, there is one thing that it's not only about love and chamomiles and flowers and unicorns and whatever it is. In the lessons, I don't know like about Argentina lessons, but about Ukrainian lessons, there is one like huge thing. Russia will come up at any context that you will see, anywhere. Because, for instance, yesterday I had an individual lesson with a 12-year-old preteen, basically preteen. Good boy, everything is fine, and we are learning the adverbs of manner, badly, well, and all the rest of it. And the little guy is saying something like, and it was like the car, name someone who dresses well. Well, my mother dresses well. Okay. Name somebody who dresses badly. And he's sitting like, orcs are dressing badly. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like, how do I deal with this? If I ignored that, he would continue some provocations during the lesson. But what I decided to do, I told him, okay, and in what way do you think they dress badly? What is bad about their ammunition? And he was like, well, they've got some stupid boots, they've got some stupid helmets, stupid coat and everything. And I'm like, well, yeah, I agree with you. Okay, so let it be. And, you know, like, he was okay with that. And again, in Ukrainian lessons, it will come up, even without the context of war, even if you don't say anything about it. So that's just like one thing that we all have to remember, like truthfully. So, because it will come up, and it's just like really, it's going to happen. Nevertheless, oh yeah. Here we have again a little bit more reports. I just wanted to show you one of the latest things that the little children from Horishny Plavny, from the school, it's in the it's near Kremenchuk, the city near Kremenchuk. There is a school club where the teachers actually tried to provide something like camp activities for the kids during the summer and everything. And they created little crafts of a little owl. And if you remember who inspired me to do the teaching, it was Lana Sushko, and the emblem of her courses is a little owl, and I decided that this picture would be quite symbolic for that little reason too. Right, so she taught me how to be kind to children, basically, like if we take it like to the very basic level, right? So, and it actually taught me how to work with the guys as well. This is actually like the last one. It's from the Kramatorsk, where we sent a lot of like ammo, we sent a lot of tents because everything was burnt away, and it's coming up back here. So that's just like my main message here. And one more thing that I wanted to say is that our defenders are saying a lot about that. This video was recorded by one of the defenders who was getting our help. I want you to hear what he was actually saying. It was said mostly to the volunteers, you know, like we got this, we got that. He's saying this in Russian-Ukrainian mixture, but you will have the English subtitles. Hopefully you will see it well. Enjoy. 2 minutes of your time this time.
Тем, кто собирает это все, тех, кто помогает волонтерам в этой помощи Збройним силам України. Дуже дякуємо. Привезли нам масети, рюкзачки, масети, форма. Привозили нам штаны. Привозили нам рюкзачки хорошие, очень понравились. Это крутые рюкзачки, еще не все разобрали. Привезли перчатки, много сладостей, очень много сладостей, энергетические напитки. Привезли нам этого, тоже, это очень круто. Ребята хоть в окопах, но могут себе позволить заварить себе чай, каву яку передали тоже, кстати, дуже добро. Очень дякую. Накидочки на касочки тоже хорошие, ребята оценили, привезли нам наборы для чистки оружия, тоже очень довольные ребята, очень хорошие, качественные. Привозили окуляры, было обувь у нас, перчаток, очень много перчаток и хорошие перчатки, спасибо большое. Привезли нам скобы, у нас еще есть. Еще остались, еще не все разобрали. Еще есть, нам еще привезли. Они дуже потрібні нам. Це круто. Даже нам привезли панамки. Очень круто тоже. Привезли нам дуже багато солодостей. А насправді саме приємне це малюнки дітей. Це дуже вообще ребята там вообще довольны, все сразу поразбирали, пофотографировались и поразвешивали у себя рядом. То есть они мотивируют, очень круто. Ребята говорят, очень большое спасибо вам за допомогу. Дякую, дуже дякую.
Yeah, as you can hear, thank you very much, thank you. And the last part is like, it hits my heart the most because, like when they always say, when you're telling about something, you're telling about this, about that, about like one thing and another thing, but the best part you leave for the end, and he's telling about the pictures. And I know exactly that the soldiers that he's talking about, they are putting all of these pictures into the trenches, to their shelters, to their hearts as well. There are lots of reports where they just, they take this little note, they put it in and put it into the inside pocket of their uniform. And it kind of, keeps them alive. It keeps them sane. Of course, they are angry. They are wonderful defenders. They are doing the best job that they can. And but this keeps them going, this is the inner motivation that we are trying to provide to them throughout all this wonderful period that is going through. Right, so this was one. What you can do, as the people, as the citizens of different countries out there. We have got a wonderful website, which is called United 24. I think that you have heard about this. This is through where you can make donations for the humanitarian aids there, for anything out there. Or you can provide some financial help as well to some other foundations, charity foundations like Prituла Foundation, which, by the way, we had also donated quite a lot, thanks to Eva Tatarova, who I think she was there in the list of the guests here too. I have seen her. She has collected with a lot of other teachers as well, quite a huge sum of money. I think it was about $5,000, and we donated it, and some cars were bought for that. So that were getting to the intelligence forces of ours and everything. So it's the financial part. You can also send the pictures if you want to. So I'm up for this. You can send it through the regular post, like in Ukraine, life hasn't stopped, as it shows. Yeah, and we have to be like working and going on. The post is working, people are working, cars are not blocked. It's not the zombie apocalypse here. Remember, like we're just looking at everything. So everything's fine, we can live. So let's do it. Yeah, so that's why the life's going on and everything is going fine. Another thing that I am really grateful for, and this is like one of the main reasons why we are having this talk, is that Ukraine still must be in the media. Ukraine still has to be talked about because the war is not over. Right now, the trend is going downward. That's quite obvious. Yeah, so, but we can, and as a teachers, you can do it really painlessly in the different way. While you right now are waiting for the books probably coming from Cambridge or anywhere, you can provide some other interactive lessons, like repetitive lessons for some grammar, for anything out. I mentioned several times Eva Tatarova, or Eugenia Tatarova. So for her, I have provided 2 lessons like for free as well, with the presentation, with the worksheets and everything. For the teenagers, there are a couple. So for instance, the first one that I have come up with, it was like very difficult for me. It's about Amelia. Have you heard about Amelia, like from the bomb shelter, who was singing Let It Go? Oh my God, you're missing out. So, my dear ladies and gentlemen, so I do encourage you to find this lesson. It's really fun. It's about the song, and it is based on the Academy Stars 2, on the imperatives. So it was just like a little bit the glimpse that this girl is not afraid, and she is going through everything with her parents. And even she's in the bomb shelter, as you can see in the screenshot. She's still singing about this song about Elsa, let it go, and everything's gonna be fine, and she's smiling. And right now she's in Poland with her mom and her grandma. So, but nevertheless, it's actually quite a cool thing, you know, like painlessly to show that children shouldn't be afraid and listen to their parents and like have the imperative part. And instead of Simon says you can play, Amelia says. So like it's a lot of like little things there. Another thing that I had, it's actually for the teenagers about careless speech posters and war propaganda that was there. These are the old posters from the Second World War, which were spread around in the UK, in Great Britain. Like, don't talk about this, don't say about that. And that's actually what we talked with Alistair right before this meeting. Like, should I tell where I am? Should I tell the city? Like, or should I give the address or something? Right. So, and this is actually what we had as a lesson in the, I think it was in the end of March, or probably in the beginning of April, somewhere there, with the teenagers. Because teenagers, they have the tendency to put everything on social media, to the stories and everything. And if they see something like, it was a huge scandal that our people, sometimes, because they didn't know what to do, they saw our tanks, Ukrainian flags going to the frontier, they were filming it, putting this to the internet, it would go to the intelligence of Russia and our people would die. So, and that's why, you know, like I thought it was quite important to do this. And as I saw, this lesson was quite popular among some of the Ukrainian teachers. So like this one you could use as well. So like it's not only about like Ukrainian posters there. For more the B1, B2, like you could talk about like with the teenagers, with young adults, about Richard Branson, about his thoughts about pre-war, what was he saying after war, what kind of allies and everything there. Memes, of course, for everyone. Memes would be like wonderful. There are lots of memes from Ukraine. Probably this one you should adjust by yourself because there are a lot of memes that you would understand if you were in Ukraine. But there is teacher's notes if you need those again. Like that's a little thing. And one more lesson of which I'm like extremely proud. It was my Easter worksheet presentation in which Natalia Zachinska is featured, and there is also featured one more family from Kharkiv. This is the family, Fedorov family, Ekaterina Fedorova. This is the owner of, I think it was Perfect Lang School in Kharkiv. And right now they are based in Austria with the whole family. I asked her permission if I could use her photo and her story about them leaving Kharkiv, which was sieged at that moment, and what they went through. I was extremely inspired by her story, and we did like quite a really nice story going based on the Focus 2 Unit 3 comparative superlative adjectives. So like it's like A2 plus B1 level. It could be used for teenagers. It could be used probably for preteens, but you know, like for very conscious preteens out there. And the story is very nice, and the this is again the painless way to do it. I didn't include the gore into this. I didn't include the blood and bullets and that we have to kill all the Russians and stuff like that. They are absolutely not. So because it's like not our job. But again, this is what you could do in the beginning of your like study year. I don't know like how it's going in Argentina and everywhere in the world. Right now we're starting, and this could be just like while we're waiting for the books. Just why not this memes lesson, this Amelia lesson, this about the bunny, rabbit, and like miracles there and everything around. Nevertheless, what again I'm trying to say with this, that everything starts with us. If we're showing the confidence, if we're showing the kindness, if we're showing the love towards what we do, towards the people that are around us, toward the world that is around us, it makes the difference. Every little act makes the difference. Oh, and we've got with B, and everything is fine. So like alert is off, so don't be afraid. Yeah. So like you see, nothing happened. As I told you, Poltava is a wonderful place to be. Right. Every little act matters. Every little act of kindness matters. You can have even, you know, like hashtag you could stand with Ukraine poster done, or you could do something like, again, the game with Amelia, so like stop and go and whatever. It's like, it's a lot of things. The main point that it should start with us. It should start with our heart, and it should start with our sincere wish to go forward. So like that's like really important thing. And if you see the soldiers smiling, if you see the volunteers smiling, that means that the victory is right ahead of us. And it is shown like even through this little embroidery, through the little pictures out there. Yeah, if you have any questions, because I'm saying a lot. Right.
Fantastic, Eugenia, thank you very much. I have a question to start us off with, I think, and then I've noticed there's some questions in the chat box as well. That last picture that you showed just now, and also the video that you had shown about with the soldier who is being expressing gratitude for everything that had been sent, but what really struck me was the gratitude for the craft work, the pictures that the children had done, which is of course this one of the main projects that you're involved in. This might sound like a really obvious question, but why do you think that that's so important for the troops on the front line?
To me, it seems when we talk to them, is that they see that they are weighted at home. They see that they have something to fight for. They see this like world that is behind them, and they are feeling this support. Like, as I told you, even like with this little card, like probably it's not even the perfect academically, but I think that this is what they do feel there. So like the support, and that the world is behind them. So that's why I think these pictures, these crafts, these sweets are actually keeping them like going on.
Yeah, because this is just a personal opinion, but I think that historically one of the issues with wars, there's so many, but that some of the troops can sometimes feel quite isolated from their home, from their nation, if you see what I mean as well. So what you're saying, of course, makes a lot of sense. There's another question in the chat box from Florencia. What I'm going to do so that you can see it more clearly is cut it and paste it. So it's the last message in the chat. So it says, you mentioned earlier that to deal with trauma, a good first step was TPR for children to reconnect with reality. Creating and staying in motion, like, for example, drawing, keeps them active and focused. Is there a moment in which you ask them to also talk about their experience or how they feel?
You know, in this way, you have to be very careful. we are not therapists, we are not the psychologists or something. Well, we do the elements of that work, right? So, but it's definitely, you know, if they want to, they will tell it. But you shouldn't push it. You shouldn't, like, there is no way to ask the question, you know, like, how is it going? What did you feel when you heard the bombs, you know, like, or the explosions? There's no right way to do this, because if you ask it, even when they, you know, like when they are focused in the picture, when they are doing something like in the drawing out there or something, like you think that it's a safe time. No, because it might actually unravel the trauma, or it might, maybe this person, like this little kid, isolated themselves or put the shield in front of their heart because, well, they heard it, but they understood they have to keep silent and they have to run with mother, you know. That's why they will tell you eventually, like, if you know what I mean, right? So, but you shouldn't push it. That's what it is. When we were working with the children from Donetsk and from Luhansk in 2014 and 2015, it was actually one of my challenges not to ask them, like, and how are you feeling? And, you know, like, to say that, oh, I'm so sorry for you. No, you should stop yourself right there, because, like, they had enough pain, they had enough tears in front of them. They shouldn't actually, like, see it more, because if you show them, expose them to this more, they will not be, like, curing themselves or healing. So that's why it's like very shaky question, but they will tell you eventually. So for instance, like, I'm sorry.
No, please go on. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go
in
ahead.
one of the lessons is, again, like, I'm talking about the kids, like 9-10 years old. This is a brother and sister, and they were actually, like, drawing and stuff. And first few lessons, yes, we brought them back to with the TPR, with breathing, with some games and stuff and everything, when they were, of course, in safety, not in the bomb shelter, not in the combat scenes or anything. But then, you know, like, eventually something comes up in the book, as I told you before, right? So, like, there was again, Academy Stars, something about bears in the Russia or something, and they were like, you know, the boy was sitting, that he completed the task first, and he's like, Russia is a bad state, like, I will say it in this way. And I was like, I understand why he's saying that. And he's like, because they, like, he starts talking by himself. I didn't ask anything about that. I didn't even have time to react to this. And he was like, well, because they bombed it and we had to leave our cat to our grandma and etc. etc. So he misses the cat the most, like, in this, like, that's what I caught from that, you know, like, and I started to develop it into the way, not where his house was bombed, right? So, like, but about the cat, like, probably you will see him later and blah blah blah. Yeah, so, but he's waiting for you in Ukraine, so, like, when you come back and stuff. So, but, you know, like, this is the thing, you have the rapport with your students, you have the you have the understanding of what's going on in their heads, but they will tell you eventually by themselves. So there is no, like, right way to do this. Yeah. Okay, so that's the thing.
And one of the things that you were saying earlier on was about how, well, we shouldn't, or you shouldn't, like you're saying, ask them the question necessarily. One of the things that you also said, which is very interesting, when the invasion started, the full-scale invasion, as it were, started, you felt to yourself like, okay, that's it, there's no English teaching anymore.
Yep.
Whereas in fact, this interview and previous ones and talks have shown that that's not the case at all. It's like almost the other way around. Why do you think it's so important for people in Ukraine at the moment, maybe for children and whoever else?
Of course. One of the reasons, like, it's quite basic reason, it's one of the first, is that most of the kids and their parents went abroad and they need English to talk through. However, our huge misconception in Ukraine is that, like, in Poland everyone will speak English to you. No, you have to learn Polish. In Denmark probably people will talk to you in English, but no, for school you have to know Danish, and etc. etc. So, like, but the basic, you know, like, this little link, this chain, first of all, it would be like English to them, and this is fine. The second reason, and this one I think it's a little bit even more important, it brings the security of their life back to them, like the feeling of the security of their life, that they had English before war and they will have it like later. So that's just like a thing. And I do believe that it's not only for the kids, it's actually for the teenagers, it is also for the adults. I have several adults who are right now abroad and they are actually there. So they are doing it. So like they are in this process and they are like, I need English, I'm sorry, but I do need at least to talk. And you know, like you have the course book, of course, you have the syllabus and stuff, and you're like, see that this person doesn't want to talk about the second or third conditional today. They don't feel like it. And you're like, all right, so let's talk about something, and you just like catch it through. Like, I will not deny, a lot of times I have caught myself and my students that they were crying during the lessons, during the sessions. And well, I am quite an emotional person, I think, like you can hear from my speech and like from my gestures everywhere. So, but I also cried, and I don't think it's unnatural. I think it's quite natural actually to cry in this kind of position. We're all traumatized, and if we bottle it up, it will burst worse. So that's why it should go. And you know, again, I come back to the thing. You understand that this is like what you had before, and at least this keeps you alive. I know several students and several people that actually told me that, well, I do feel that English has been like my therapy and it brings me back again from the dissociation to the reality here. Yeah, so that's what it is. Cannot disagree like with the last comment that I see in the chat box. Yes, so
there's a pre the last comment. There is something that I want to ask you, but there's a message in Ukrainian which I'm going to ask you to translate.
Yes. No problem. Yes, so that's true. So like thanks a million or thanks 1,000 times for every word of support and for every action that brings our victory closer to us. Your support makes us stronger. Thank you very much. So that's what it tells. This is actually the message from my mom.
Well,
yeah.
There's one more thing I'd like to ask you, which is this, Eugenia, when you and I were talking about this interview, one thing that continually came up in the dialogue that we were having was about this phrase about every little bit helps. And I think that it's almost certainly the case that I don't know about in Ukraine itself, but in other countries around the world, there are probably people who think, well, what can we do? And maybe not just about this, but other things as well. But what you and I have been talking about is this every little bit helps. And I just like you to say a little bit about that, just to sort of round up.
Yes, so every little thing matters, every little act of kindness, as we talked with you before, every little smile, every, you know, like even if you do something small, whether you are in Ukraine, out of Ukraine, if you are the citizen of Ukraine, if you are the citizen of all of the world there. So even a little tiny bit can help to us. So like, and it's not only about, you know, the financial help, the one that I mentioned about United 24, or it's not only about the humanitarian aid. You might even just, you know, like send a prayer, like if you are a religious person, and energetically it will come to Ukraine. So like, and it will protect us in the invisible shield there. And if we're talking about the like probably like a little picture, some people say like what these pictures can do, oh my god, they can make so much more. And it's just like every little bit, and it becomes like every little drop becomes the ocean. So that's what I wanted just for everyone to realize to get through. So because it's really it. I wouldn't say that I do much, like it seems like a lot. I could do much more if I had more time, honestly, like, and I have to admit that like if I had the more opportunities I would do it. I don't have more, so I have my little opportunity which I take, right, and which I make the difference with this. Every little piece makes the difference. So that's, please remember this, whether this is about Ukraine or not. Like, it's about everything. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. How can we help from Argentina to your kids? So basically, you could send like if you wanted, you could send the pictures, physical pictures. Yeah. So like I have the post on my Facebook page, or I can actually like send it to the event a bit later, like the actual post office address of mine. And I will tell you, even if it's like one picture, 10 pictures, or like one big poster or anything, post is working. State post is working. Everything's fine. So like everything is covered there. So it could be that. If you want to just, like to have the video session with the kids, it's also cool. It would be really wonderful for them to see that. Remember that I showed you the video message from Georgia, the one that we had with Nino and everything. So like it was such a powerful thing. I invited my teens to join as well. So they just were listening, and they said to me later, they know about Ukraine. They know what's going on. Oh my God. And like it's a really wonder of the energy of the synergies, like connecting, talking, like everything. Yeah. So like this is the other way. And well, yeah, just prayers and United 24. I'm just like really simple in this way. Right.
Thank you. In fact, Irena's asked, what about some lessons together?
Yeah, that's just what I said. Like, yeah, absolutely. It's a wonderful thing. And, like, it's not only about the different countries. I think it's about Ukrainian teachers as well, so that we can all have like the lessons. So, for instance, I know that Oksana has got some kids teaching, and I have got like similar age, and we can connect and, like have some interaction. So, like, it's wonder of the internet. Like, I think it could work. Absolutely. Yeah. Right.
Great, yeah. Yes, go on. You were going to say. No, you're good. When we have finished today, shortly, I'm going to put this interview on to YouTube, and I'm going to put the link for everyone in the chat box now. And also, just so that people can see it and what it looks like at the moment, these are the interviews that we've got and the talks that we've got so far. You might see some familiar faces, Eugenia, on the screen.
Yeah, Olena and Oksana and Natasha.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and you will be there very shortly. You will be there very shortly. Yeah. So thank you so much, Eugenia. Very, very much.
I wanted to say thank you again for putting me up here, so like for letting me speak about this project. And I wanted to say thanks again to Eugenia as well. So like we are the twinsies in the names, right? So for this
your Argentine twin.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, and for the sake of all the humanity out there, I really wanted to say thanks for keeping Ukraine in the media field, in the little like teachers, even ELT field. So it's really important. It's extremely important. The last thing that I wanted us to do, like if you don't mind, do you remember the first gesture that we did today, my dear ladies and gentlemen? Yay! Can you show this to me, please? This is the coat of arms. Can you show me, guys? Yay! Like this is the coat of arms of Ukraine. You're not showing any swastika or anything. Like I promised you, my dear ladies and gentlemen, this is just our thing. Thank you so much, and I wish to you a wonderful evening, wonderful Sunday, and thanks for listening. I will put up the post details like into the comments as well everywhere. So thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Eugenia, and we will hopefully see each other soon. And everyone, we will see you very soon. I'll be in touch very soon with the next talk and interview that we have. Thank you, Eugenia. Stay safe, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. I will. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye. See you soon. Bye for now. Bye.